Are we live?
We're live.
Nice.
Is this thing on?
What's up? Happy Friday.
It's on.
Happy Black Friday.
I mean,
Excited
it's
to
just
be
that
here.
okay, so this is two Canadians struggling to make sense of all the messages we got yesterday, which was people being like, Happy Thanksgiving, and me being like, it was a month ago, and then us laughing, ha 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 ha. But it's funny to see the different, like, Thanksgiving is just barely a thing up here. You get together with your family, you're going to have dinner. These Americans, man, you all go crazy.
I like
Spending
it,
$100
though.
million
I think I like it.
to publish or broadcast a football
Football
game.
game.
You
Yeah.
know, you got to message everybody on your Facebook fan page, I'm sure, to say Happy Thanksgiving. You don't
You
do
have
that,
to.
you get
Yeah.
15
You
demerit
have to.
points, I think. So
Yeah, I was saying in a call earlier that I think American Thanksgiving, the Thursday, is by far my favorite work day of the year.
oh, bro,
It's
it
just
was the
great.
emptiest
It's
day of meetings.
peaceful. It's quiet. There's some football that I can kind of like distract myself a little bit with. It's great. It's great.
Can you just taste Christmas? I guess so. This is where I would say the Americans, you do it right. Like, you really, it's a great opening scene, a great warm up to the holiday season. I think people do.
It is true.
There's more energy. It's packaged and promoted better than our Thanksgiving up here. So,
Cheryl,
lovely
you
to
can
see
come
so
up. You can
many.
come up anytime. We'll accept you. We'll accept Americans with open arms. Some of them.
Oh yeah, that's we did that during the Vietnam War, and we'll do that in the future.
Yeah,
we did.
I feel like
9/11. We did it.
definitely.
Yeah. We opened up
I feel like
airports.
it's definitely convenient for like broken homes or something. It's like really easy. You're like, it's a good trade. You're like, oh, we'll do moms on Thanksgiving and dads on Christmas. It's like an even split.
I mean, we have that too, but I guess it's not with the same. If you get Thanksgiving, it's definitely like you lost out on the draw. And
exactly.
Yeah,
it's a big chip on the table.
Yeah,
big bargaining chip.
Trade. Yeah. All right. Well, should we jump in? You got a great list of things to dive into here. So
yeah, let's make
wanted to make sure
episode 4 official.
Episode 4 official. Peace. Let's kick it. Oh yeah, lovely humans, back with episode 4 of Internet Explorers, place where we come together Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, live at live.seedclub.xyz to catch up on what's happened in the week, hang out with Josh a little bit, see what Peace Note clicks around on the internet here, and just generally, hopefully, get a little bit smarter about what is actually happening in this world of consumer crypto, and the internet more generally. It's our 4th episode. All these episodes are collectible on pods.media. You'll see a link probably posted here on the chat. This episode is collectible along with all of our other episodes. And we also have a fun drop we're going to do here a bit later on. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, on podcasts, make sure you can hang out with us live.seedclub.xyz. Friday mornings, 10 a.m. Pacific, Friday afternoons, 1 Eastern, or I guess Friday nights for the freaks that are in other parts of the world that like to tune in on a Friday night. I know that's happened before you go to the bars. Or I guess Friday nights for the freaks that. Oh yes, nice. The Inception.
Yeah, we gotta shout out Jack. I think he's a London boy. Been tuning in every evening. It's a part of his Friday night ritual now, which we love to see.
Jack. Alrighty, so Peace, how you doing?
Cruising right along. Yeah, the holidays are in full effect out here.
You baked a pie. You baked a pie yesterday, didn't you?
I didn't actually make a pie, but I made the crust.
It's the best pie anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
There was this whole conversation this morning about crusts and pies, and how pies were the prelude the leader into burgers. There's a better word there that
the tortillere, the French meat pie apparently led into the cheeseburger.
This turned into a whole fucking thing earlier, so we're not going to go there. But I love that there's more like you had your hands dirty in it yesterday. You want to share your pie crust, your pie crust recipe?
Oh my, it's super basic. Yeah. The pie crust is super basic. What is it? It's flour, cold butter, ice water, tablespoon of sugar, teaspoon of salt. Freaking chow, man. Get it? Yeah. Bang it
Love.
together and throw it in the fridge, and you're on your way.
Nice. So you're set up to make a pie. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, nice.
Empanadas.
Jump?
We'll see.
Speaking of staking a bunch of ingredients in some other oven that may or may not have control in it, that may turn into something way better than what you initially put in due to network rewards.
Blur
chain L2. What's going on?
Blur chain. Yeah. So this I think it's still maybe dominating crypto Twitter, but I think early this week it was all you could see. So yeah, context here for, I don't know if you took a week of Thanksgiving or something. So Pac-Man, geez, Black Friday. Pac-Man, edit that out. Pac-Man, yeah. So he said,
Josh, this is a live show.
He sent crypto Twitter into a. Come on, chat, you gotta show me some up for that one. Pac-Man sent crypto Twitter into a bit of frenzy this week when he announced their new L2 blast alongside, I think 20 mil in funding from Paradigm and Standard Crypto. So I guess like they're attempting to solve some pretty reasonable problems that they bumped into while building Blur. So hundreds of millions of gas spent trading NFTs during the bull and post bull, have huge demand for NFT perps that just like really don't make sense on mainnet. And they have, I think you mentioned like 100 mil of assets of TVL in the Blur pool that's just sitting there doing nothing and actually like depreciating by not generating yield, as they put it. So basically, like they're building an L2 that automatically stakes deposits by staking ETH and also by depositing into vaults in the case of stablecoins to provide native yield, basically. So all assets on this L2 will be accruing yield while you use them, doing whatever you want to do on that L2. But their go to market in classic Pac-Man fashion is attracting some pretty intense criticism. So what they're
points.
Yeah, points. There are points. So I think that there are two things that people hate. So one is that the bridge contract is basically a 3 out of 5 multi-sig right now. Which this is kind of a tale as old as time. I think many of the L2s are still kind of operating on a multi-sig bridge contract. But so people hated that. And then, just to pour gasoline on the fire there, in classic Blur fashion, leaning into like heavy speculation using points. I think the chain's not going to be actually ready till February. But if you deposit assets today, if you refer your friends, you get blast points, which, of course we all know what that means. There's a leaderboard, there's invite codes. They're playing the full game, and it's been wildly successful. I think I checked this morning and they had over $400 million in deposits so far. So, they know what they're doing, but people are mad. So Jess, what's your take on this?
Please, I just, in the StreamYard chat, I just dropped a Dune dashboard if you want to have a look at what people are actually doing there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like very much an armchair critic here on this, because the trade-offs, and I've seen a bunch of tweet threads about people who dove pretty deep, trade-offs being made around like taking people's money and then investing it on their behalf and then bringing it back and giving you the rewards or splitting those rewards is like just a whole bunch of risk associated with that. Sure, the 3 to 5 multi-sig is a thing people are talking about, but if you look across the industry, that's actually fairly common. Is that good? Probably not. It's a trade-off. Okay, cool. But I think a lot of people were really looking at this as like, what was the last time a project promised this? And it is like comparisons to FTX and comparisons to Luna, or maybe they're fair in the generalities. Obviously, there's a lot more malfeasance I think has gone into those other two than has probably even been built here around Blast. But I also think a lot of people are sort of I worry about the negative impact this sort of hyper speculation around points might have just on the broader space. So I think points as an innovation is actually a really big deal. It allows teams to have more nuanced control over how they do airdrops, over how they distribute ownership in the network. It is a meaningful improvement from a builder's perspective against the one airdrop and done methodology that I think has been the primary way we've distributed ownership in these networks. And I think there's a lot of reason to be excited about that thing. But, there's this great tweet going around. It's just like the Grim Reaper, and it's, it's Blur, it's something else, and then it's Blast, right? And it's coming for your points. And so I think you just start to see all like the good and the bad things within crypto wrapped up in this. Hope it doesn't trash points for other people. I have zero desire to go put money into this thing early on, and I have zero shock that there's over $400 million staked in there.
Yeah.
This becomes a game of like, can they actually, do what they're saying they're going to do effectively and safely? And that's a big question mark. And then can they manage the economy over the long term? But, we're looking at Blur prices up 60%. What is it up? It's up 30%, around 65 cents. People seem to be loving it. We just love speculating on shit. People are going to love their points.
Yeah. Well, I think a big piece of this too is just the reputation that Pac-Man's built, which I think is, probably underlooked in this. Like, this isn't just pure people jumping into the new kind of speculative Ponzi. Sure. This is, Pac-Man proven he's an incredible builder for years, realizing this big opportunity. I think that they need and are getting dog food with this kind of dominant, this product that dominates a category, backed by, say what you want about, Paradigm right now, but backed by some, huge, great, trustworthy, for the most part, investors. And it's like a very clear, easy game to understand, right?
I get it all, and I'm more interested with like the knock-on effect. So I think if I'm Paradigm sitting here, this makes me very uncomfortable. And I think I think it probably shows. I mean, they're smart human beings, so it shows their depth of belief in this. The same with standard crypto. But there is, we've talked to founders, and when they talk about looking at firms to work with, Paradigm shows up quite often, and it's mostly because of the this sort of, I guess, this bump people get around interest because of them, right? So we can trust Paradigm, big in the Asian markets. There's easy to ape into something they do. It puts a very high bar for them, right? And I think one or two of these things going really wrong probably doesn't have a big impact, but if there's a history of that happening, but that's also the game we're all playing, right? Like, they're pushing the space forward and trying to figure their stuff out. So
yeah,
I think any good launch in crypto just needs to actually rankle some feathers, and so Blast has done a very good job of doing that. But also, I have zero desire to put my. And I guess the question is really like, what is the dev ecosystem that sort of emerges around this, right? And can they use these points and these assets and yield to really incentivize that?
Yeah, I mean, with
definitely something to look at.
400 million TVL, if you're building a product that wants and needs liquidity, it's probably a decent place to go. I think like one other downstream effect of this, actually, piece, if you want to pull up the tweet that John Palmer dropped, it's just like these very speculative games and kind of the shilling and stuff that comes out of them really like take over and dominate mindshare, which that this captures the sentiment perfectly. But like, if you're a founder just wanting to not play this game, like what are you supposed to do, right? Like, I guess obviously you just, keep building and keep serving your core users and, accept and recognize that you're just going to go slower than you would if you hyper financialize. But it must be tough, being John and sitting there and, knowing you could go play this game and seeing all the noise that some of these other projects are getting and, staying the course.
I think the only thing worse than doing that is playing the speculation game, building something for 2 years, thinking you have product market fit, and then the speculation game goes away and you're standing there with nothing left. So, and I love it. He did not say points. So points come into party. Love it. Love to see it. Thanks, John.
I mean,
that would be good. The party airdrop is going to be great. But he's saying he's doing no. What are you doing, John? What are you doing?
Just deflating the. Yeah, they're good.
He wants to suffer.
Yeah, he does. He likes tennis.
That's right.
Points, money, and farmers. That's good.
Really
good. Let's actually. Piece. I think I had this like fourth down, but I think this is actually a good segue into warps, which is kind of the like point system, or like turning into kind of like the de facto point system within the Warpcast world. So yeah, this week Dan Romero announced that you can now buy warps on Warpcast. So previously, I think they were only given out as as rewards for active users of the product. And I think maybe some early devs within the Farcaster ecosystem, as they kind of iterated on functionality and figured out cool ways to use them. But yeah, this week they announced that you can actually now buy them. So I guess like the core way they've been used to date is for connecting Farcaster apps to Warpcast, which I don't actually exactly know what that means. But I think the one that I've seen more is like the minting of NFTs using Warps, and it's this really kind of clean, streamlined experience that they've built there. And I was looking through their docs. They're describing Warps kind of akin to frequent flyer points or Roblox, but are like very, very adamantly, non-transferable, centralized. This is not leading to an airdrop. These are being given and bought to be consumed on the product and platform. And I think what's really interesting here is if it works and they show that there's a market and demand for, these in-game points that are like feature unlocks, they're kind of proving a business model for clients on top of Farcaster, which could be pretty huge for the ecosystem. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, points, warps, Roblox, like there's we're starting to step into the world of like mobile gaming and the like pretty quickly here, and I think makes a ton of sense. I haven't fully wrapped my head around the impacts of warps. Feels like there's sort of like one or two steps beyond as far as utility goes for that to really make the most sense to me. But this idea of enabling on-chain transactions and of having an in-network currency, I think it makes a ton of sense. And you can sort of look at what Twitch is doing, or you look at what Line is doing, and you see sticker packs or subs or whatever, and you can start to see how, like maybe the basis for thinking about how these things can work. So yeah, 100%. I think anytime there's new mechanisms for value creation and distribution, they're things that we should pay really close attention to, because likely there'll be applications across other areas of crypto as well. So yeah,
totally. It's cool to just see their determination to just focus on quality usage of the product too. Like they've been doing that for 5 years. He came and talked to our previous cohort, and it's just such a core focus of theirs. There's just clearly no desire to financially incentivize usage in any way. And
I think that again is a long-term, very smart move if you can make it long-term.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. Jess, you want to talk to us about creator unions?
Yeah, so this is a lovely email I got from our dear friends Colin and Samir, Mr. Creators down in LA, and it was about the title was Creator Unions, right? So we're coming out of this era, or the last few months, of big writer strikes and actor strikes, and those things have all been wrapped up. And sort of on the backs of that came this ongoing discussion of the challenges of being a creator, the challenges of not having control over monetization, of deplatforming, of all these things. And so the idea of a creator union is sort of, I guess, bandied about, talked about. And it sort of stood out to me because I think so much of my interest in crypto is a reaction to that issue, right? I started to see, very early into social media, started to see the shift from organic to paid, from participate to play pay to play, to sort of like the modern evolution of all this stuff. And the core concern I had was, why would I go invest my entire being and soul into something that could just be taken away from me, and that's actually contributing to the equity value of a multi-billion or trillion-dollar company now, rather than to myself in some way? And so to me, crypto was the solution to it. And I think one of the open questions in my mind around adoption was just like, was I just a very early adopter of the challenge or the issue or risk associated with trusting these big online networks, or am I just in the same time as everybody else? And I think we're just extremely early. And I think then the number of people who are actually making a living on these platforms has grown exponentially, and therefore there's more interest and more concern around it, et cetera. And you start to get conversations of the old world way of, we're going to bring in creator unions. Cool. It's not sort of comment on the path as far as how one goes to get a little bit more agency on the internet. love that they're going to go after that. I think that there sort of needs to be more of a reimagining of the incentive models in these networks to truly empower the individual, and the likelihood that that's going to come through a union in my mind is just very limited. And so how do we go get those creators over here? And still a long way to go. I think one of the questions that came in my mind was like, do we have an example of a creator who did crypto, a creator or influencer who did crypto really well last cycle? And the challenge I had in coming up with a name there, which I'm sure they exist, but
I think like outside of artists, there's a bunch, right?
Donald Trump. You're right, Peace.
Trump did really well. Yeah, it was actually like Jess, when you sent this over, I was actually just kind of I was listing out kind of the benefits that crypto can really offer creators, and it's starting to be like a pretty stacked list with some real products being built within each one, right? So there's like the owned and portable social graphs of Farcaster and Lens. There's the direct monetization opportunities of Zora, Paragraph, Mirror, Pods, many other platforms. There's the uncensorable content and payments of MintStars. There's low fee marketplaces like Teleport, which I found about the other day. It's kind of interesting. It's like Uber on chain. I know it's kind of a meme, but actually a lot of interesting reasons there to do it. The like expansive revenue opportunities of Zora protocol rewards, super rare curation, friend tech trading fees. Like you can participate, in the creator value flows beyond just, the direct monetizing of your work. And then I think something I'm really interested in that I actually haven't seen yet is a core part of the like collective bargaining agreement of actors is like revenue distribution and how you could like protocolize that. So any creator above some threshold or above some, whatever like kind of opt-in kind of filter you want to use, there's some percentage of fees gets like redistributed to all creators, and you could pretty easily do that at a protocol level. So I think that's another pretty cool option. But yeah, there's again, like we don't have the distribution. That's the biggest issue. YouTube has the distribution. All these incumbents have the distribution, but there's a lot of ways to to start playing around here and starting to see the value.
Yeah, I think not having the distribution and also the understanding of a broader audience, both of the problems and the solutions here, I think are a big barrier. Because like putting crypto in between, like maybe being okay with not having distribution, especially if these folks have distribution already. The big question I think is like, what is the mechanism or game that you lay out in between that distribution and your audience that actually isn't going to fuck them over by pumping and dumping into some bullshit in a short time? And I think that's, again, it remains the biggest challenge is like, it's not Rally's bonding curve. It's probably not Friendtech's bonding curve. It's probably not a 10,000 NFT collection, right? There's sort of like a persistent evolution here still that, even pools and, co-create, there just needs to be meaningful for people to want to transact with these folks in some way. And I think that's that social context and understanding seems to be the big gap. And it's why in spaces like this, we can actually be a lot more experimental, even though we're not going to have 1 million people mint a thing. As I say this, we have people minting our episode 4 right now, dropping into I think that just means Hurl's got the thing working, which I love. So I think that's the big question. And I don't see a good solution there just yet. And I'm looking forward to somebody remixing and evolving on something that came last cycle and really making a big impact on it. But I just don't think I've really seen that yet.
I think it's probably going to just be so much more simple than we're trying to make it right now. It's going to be like tokens and collectibles or something. And, the culture and digital culture and communities catch up to like wanting to, buy and consume tokens and whatever, collect and flex collectibles. But I don't think these kind of convoluted, complicated systems are going to be the things that win out.
Stake and earn and yield. And I mean, there is a wonderful niche of hundreds of thousands of wallets out there who just want nothing more than to stake and farm and yield and dump. And it's one juicy segment of the crypto population. So there's lots of products that's
very juicy. Juicy. Yeah. Nice. Okay, let's jump on over to prediction markets. So prediction markets, they were a huge crypto narrative back in 2020. And I think, piece, if you open up this
and 2017 and
2017 forever, if you open up
Yeah.
the Dune dashboard I dropped, they like, were, pretty actively used in the last, it's not even bull, like the whatever pre-bull, and then just kind of went dormant for a while. And, recently you're starting to see a surge again and showing signs of life. And it was actually like a pretty interesting week to remember them. So with all this, like, OpenAI drama that was happening, and I think it was probably the most chaotic news cycle like I've ever seen in my life. It was like, Sam was out, then he was coming back, then OpenAI suddenly had a new CEO, and then the board, everyone wanted the board out, including the board itself, and then he was actually finally back. But anyways, like trying to just like follow along on Twitter or like news, which was, it was fun. There was some hilarious commentary, but it was impossible to actually get like any consolidated sense of what was happening. And then I actually popped over to Polymarket, and it actually just like, there were hundreds of people betting on the outcome of actually like a variety of kind of topics within this saga. And because of like the financial incentives of these hundreds of people to just like scour the internet and search for truth or, offline sources of truth, you actually get like this really good kind of consolidated real-time understanding of what like the odds of something happening are. Like, Pete, if you want to open up I think I dropped the like Sam returning as CEO.
You just had it there.
Market.
Yeah.
Oh, you had it there.
No,
and it was
like
like
one on the top.
It was like fluctuating like crazy, but like, you open this and you knew when new news broke, or if nothing was happening, you could kind of like pretty quickly understand what direction it was trending in.
That's not the right market though. Piece. Go back to the homepage, and because there's an accurate one top middle of that line there.
Yeah, the third to the right. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Oh, change.
Go a month. You need a longer time frame.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There
we go.
Look at this thing. It's so sick. So anyways, like, there was what, $350,000 bet on the outcome of this. So people were working hard to try to find what was real here. And I actually saw, maybe for the first time, like in a bunch of news reports, people were referencing Polymarket as like a source of truth, or like a source of kind of broad consolidated sentiment on what was going to happen. And then, yesterday I was scrolling through Twitter, and Nick Tamino, who's been like a long time prediction market fan. I think he's been calling for their inevitability for probably since 2017. But he very much like thinks these are like foundational to the future of journalism. Yeah, maybe he says it somewhere down here.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
It's interesting. I've been following Polymarket forever, and I think they've had one of the best onboarding into an L2 from probably since 2019, 2020 type thing. So very, very far ahead of their time. I think it's challenging, right? Because I think like prediction markets don't predict the future, but they're a really great additional signal in it. I mean, you see, there seems to be some places they seem to be more effective at than others. It seems like it can add color to news, but it's definitely not news. So that's kind of interesting. I think that the biggest challenge, as with crypto generally, is like prediction markets are illegal in the United States to put money on, which is actually a very core part of it, right? Skin in the game for saying yes or no is like the core determinant or reason why there's more value to that opinion than somebody else's. And just general liquidity. So like for a few of these markets, like I think the SAM one, that I made some decent money, I think, off of the Trump election one in 2020, I think.
Oh, nice.
Maybe. And so that was kind of fun, but like for a lot of smaller stuff, it makes no sense. So there's sort of like this big hurdle to get over, and Polymarket's just had to jump through a ton of hoops. I think they probably block American users right now. But so something like this makes no sense to me. Like
it's hilarious. It's hilarious though, right?
It's like, well, what the like?
They're like, what if the prediction markets were the news, and then this is impossible to like get any information from. But I do think it's funny. I've wanted to use Polymarket for a while and just can't get over the hump of getting enough Matic to do it. I just have dust in there. But I think like the way, and I tweeted these yesterday, I think what actually is interesting to me about prediction markets is if we unbundle them, completely reframe them, and talk about them differently, and build kind of like narrow consumer products.
Yeah.
So I think Draw the Chart, which actually came through Test Flight Club this week, is kind of like a narrow version of that on predicting crypto prices. But I think, in politics, it gets super interesting. I think pop culture, it gets super interesting. So it's like, if you, to get that liquidity, I think we need to gamify it or like reposition it away from being prediction markets and just being some like social political betting app for politics nerds. That's like really fun to do and play. And I think that's how we ultimately get somewhere interesting.
Yeah, there's sort of like two types of games that are really working well. There's like the big open-ended, choose your own, make your own adventure type game, which I think is, so let's call that nouns. And then I think we're seeing the potential emergence of these sort of much more focused niche type games. So maybe Friend Tech fits into that, Draw the Chart fits into that. We're seeing like a whole bunch of interesting deals that are coming through that are like, hey, what if actually the thing people want to do is play games with their friends on the internet, and crypto's just a way of making that far more interesting. And I think that's interesting too. So yeah, I could see that being a thing. Is there a product out there or a protocol out there right now that you think prediction markets would be meaningfully useful in? Or is it more of like
well, I think we've actually, even with and I'm not deep enough in the prediction market world to have a great sense of it, but in that tweet, Nick says that in many of like the political outcomes, the prediction markets have been much more accurate than the media, right? Like the media skews conservative. They're scared to break stuff too early. So the like prediction markets actually show outcomes way earlier. So I think they're already showing signs of being better, or at least like very complementary to journalism. So I think they're, but again, to your point, like it's only going to work for like the biggest of things right now.
It sounds like it's very effective at once the polls close on an election at predicting who's actually going to win. So I think that what you're saying there is very true. I think the broad sense making abilities out of it, it's kind of like you kind of want to, like, I check the crypto prices, not because I'm going to go do anything with crypto today, but it's just like, give me a broad barometer on where we're going right now. So I could see that being super interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's kind of like jamming this into being a prediction market. It's much more interesting as like an ephemeral kind of, arcade game.
Coming together, I mean, this is the best example of what you're talking about, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think you predicted a chart pretty good yesterday, didn't you?
Oh, dude, I crushed it. Literally, the entire ETH price followed my chart, and I was like, "Why did I?"
And you bought ETH, obviously.
Why did I play that? Why did I play this $2 game and get it right when I could have just put everything I own on ETH? But anyways, so it goes. Sweet. Yeah, let's jump over to, what do we have next? Oh yeah, virtual blockchains. I really like this post by Joel from Placeholder this week called "Virtual Blockchains in a Modular Era," which is, pretty confusing, but the what he was saying is, pretty easy to follow and powerful, I think. So basically, he was likening the infrastructural unlock of rollups, which he was calling virtual blockchains, to the unlock that virtual machines had on the internet. So basically, in the early days of any new technology, to do anything, it just takes a ton of capital, because you have to build foundational infrastructure regardless of what you want to go accomplish, right? Like early internet companies, to sell dog food, like they had to deploy their own data center themselves to go do that. And then kind of as the technology develops and common needs start to get isolated and standardized, these like modular components get open sourced and offered as services, and then this just makes it dramatically easier to build complex applications. So in Web 2, this was kind of the cloud boom, cloud and API boom, and ultimately like that kicked off this kind of golden era of startups of the late 90s, where suddenly the cost structures were shifting from being like capex dominated to OpEx dominated, where you could start small and easy and iterate super quickly, and then as it cost money to scale, but then you could go raise money because you had some traction. You didn't need to raise a ton of money in the early days to just get going. And he thinks with a bunch of the kind of infrastructure investment and building that we've had over the past couple of years, we're like kind of nearing up into this era in crypto. And I think it just kind of backs up a lot of what we're seeing. We're seeing a huge influx of just like really interesting consumer application level builders not raising a ton of money and being able to go to market and iterate super quick and build interesting things. I think what's his name, the alliance guy tweeted it this day too. Like they're a heavily kind of infrastructure DeFi focused accelerator largely, and they're seeing a huge tons of consumer deals come through. I think Dude just tweeted it last week, so everyone's seeing it, and I think this just kind of adds a lot of color to why.
What's that I hear? C Club being early? What's that? Is that oh, too early? No, we're still so early. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I think this even our last episode we talked about the sort of compounding value of innovation or the long nose of innovation, and this is the stuff that gets built under in that time frame that actually leads to this meaningful accessibility. I think crypto's always been, for some things, very easy for people to come in and build or iterate and put things together. But there's always been major limitations and frictions in it on transaction cost, speed, onboarding, etc. So I think across all of those categories, there's meaningful infrastructure that whether you want to roll an L2 or you want to just bring in some account abstraction into your app. There's a whole bunch of new tools there. And I think your point of we're seeing these founders come to us, and a common thing I'm seeing is people actually saying, oh, actually we're a bit early. We're going to cut down our raise amount and cut down our valuation. We're going to go work with the people who totally get this right now, because there isn't a whole lot of investment beyond our labor that we need to go put into getting this production ready out into the world, where we're so confident that this is going to be the next big thing. And I think that's great for founders. I think that's great for investors. I think that's great for consumers who are early adopters. I think just the drastic reduction in overhead to roll these things out is going to be really big. And we're seeing the early examples of it right now. It's not at the infrastructure layer. It's not at sort of deeper build outs. It's still on the consumer layer, but that's really what we need. I think you talk about an era where with Ruby on Rails and the App Store and all this sort of stuff emerging, it was to me, that was like the heyday of Silicon Valley, of the internet, of Web 2, is when Web 2 was still very optimistic and exciting and new, and new apps were being launched, and Product Hunt was happening, and Hacker News is all these sort of things. And I think what we've sort of gone away from over the last little while is it feels much more like a factory farm, right? It's like, we don't really care who you are as long as you're incredible at building stuff. B2B SaaS is probably the way to go. Just go find something and iterate on it. And I think what we really love is seeing people who are like, fuck all that. I've got a vision. I got to go make this thing, either for some big impact, or I just need to make it. And I think that's a really exciting place to be, because you have visionary, mission-driven builders rather than mercenary builders. And we've seen the mercenaries come and go within crypto. There'll be another wave of that, hopefully sooner than later. But the missionaries are the ones who are continuing to build these things out. So the more we can enable those people to come into crypto and to go build amazing things, the better.
Yeah, it's just going to get increasingly attractive to come build here. Like so many of the best founders I know in Web 2 they're not computer scientists. Like they would, like pre these internet frameworks and web, they wouldn't have gone and built something, because they just didn't care enough to like get into the nitty gritty of it. But then suddenly you could like launch a website in a day and focus on building product and selling and talking to people and all this stuff that those types of people actually enjoy. So I think we're going to see kind of an evolution in, I think, the types of founders that come in here. He also, I think, Pete's go to the bottom. He dropped like a pretty like provocative, maybe the second last. What he said. Oh yeah, he's like, bigger yet is the idea that virtual blockchains could become the default backend infrastructure for all online applications, as blockchains and smart contract interfaces replace Web 2 cloud and API paradigm, which like seems absurd today. But
I mean, we have it. It's not there, but it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, Zora wouldn't have been able to launch their Zora chain as quickly and effectively without
true
conduit.
But it's a service that they're just tapping into, and it's a SaaS business. It's pretty freaking good.
Yeah, conduit plus
conduit. Thank you.
The OP stack.
Yeah,
but yeah, 100%. They just wouldn't They wouldn't have. So
well, I mean, it would have cost them. They're a team that could have, but probably wouldn't have.
But I think we know of how like Jacob builds very kind of experimentally, right? Like if they had to go heads down for 2 years and invest a ton of money to go do that, probably would have done something else.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, good post. Yeah, recommend reading that. He drops a ton of names of service providers that I didn't really know about, but kind of want to dig into.
I think this Conduit so Conduit Paradigm is invested in Conduit. I think they're the biggest investor. It's fascinating to see. I mean, they're so smart, right? So this thing's throwing off cash for sure, just given the amount of money that people are paying for rollups as a service, or at least could. And that as a way of getting exposure to L2s versus direct token exposure to L2s is such a smart move. Like it's pretty darn brilliant.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think, pretty low-key, big kind of SaaS-like businesses being built, so like in the stack, kind of in the transaction flow, in the deployment flow, that you just kind of don't see, and most people never will or won't even think about it. But yeah, agreed. All right, cool. Let's jump over to live streaming. I don't know. I'm a bit of an NFL fan, so found this really interesting.
Like, what are we even talking about here? Right. Okay. NFL.
But also, like, I think we're getting increasingly interested in live streaming. So yeah, let me kind of set this up here. But I think generally, if you're interested in business, Andrew Pompliano is worth a follow. Like, sports are just a fascinating business. The NFL is like probably the biggest media business on the planet. Like, so anyways, Amazon, for today's game, I think it's happening at 3. Amazon's paying $100 million for the rights to broadcast that game. And I think they expect maybe 30 plus million people to tune in. But yeah, what's really interesting is how they're actually using live streaming to just better, connect with their customer base. So they've been experimenting with this, or doing this, for Thursday night football games. And I think during a game earlier this year, they had the most Prime signups in a 3-hour period of their entire history, which for Amazon is like an absolutely absurd stat, but just like talks about the power of kind of this condensed attention that you have for these football games, right? And so for Black Friday today, they're actually taking it to another level. So they have a new ad strategy where they're allowing brands to create like dynamic ads that they'll serve to different segments of users based on their Amazon search history. And then on top of that, they're also allowing people, while watching the broadcast, to like one-click purchase anything they're advertising. And the amazing thing is, like, I think these people have to pay what, $800,000 to get an ad placement, but all of this stuff is being sold on Amazon. So it's still like this very kind of contained ecosystem experience that people are paying to be a part of. So just whatever, this incredible kind of chess move by Amazon. So yeah, Jeff, maybe I'll let you kind of respond to that. I know you're fascinated by the media business as well, and then we can kind of parlay that into why we're kind of interested in live streaming.
I mean, I have to interrupt you just because I hate this. I hate this, but mostly because Pac-Man has completely dropped the ball. He has all this inefficient capital sitting in a freaking multi-sig. $100 million for this? This Blast L2 capital should be the ones streaming the NFL. What are we doing, sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars now? I don't know. I'm just saying, of all the things that Dow came together to buy, I can't believe we let Amazon win this. So sorry,
the yield that Amazon is generating from this is huge.
Straight up, it's crazy. It's nuts.
Amazon has a token. It's called AMZN, and it's listed on this weird exchange that has really weird trading hours, Monday to Friday, 9 to 4, I believe, 9 to 3. Something like that. And it's done incredibly well over the last 20 years. Really, I just don't know how much it's got left to run for. Listen, I think it's. I thought the TV would have been over so long ago, right? Like, I just have no fathoms of how long it takes for things to happen. And it's so shocking to me. Like, I haven't had a TV for a decade at least. Shocking to me. People do. A lot of people do still. But I think this integration into the Amazon world, it's like, Amazon's probably the only company that could do this, right? It's a bunch of iterations they made to put themselves into a position where they're the dominant retailer, the dominant membership, right? Like, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of people pay $100 a year or whatever it is now to be an Amazon Prime member, and it's an obvious upsell. And then they just have this ability to continue to do things like this that just add to the flywheel, right? So, they're not just going to go spend $100 million without knowing it works. They've spent a little bit more previously. They've done a season of Thursday Night Football. They've done all this sort of stuff. And then importantly, they're layering in all these other delicious data collection ways to come and get you to part with your money. So I think deep admiration from like a business model perspective and like a media innovation and disruption perspective. Like this should make all the major broadcasters that are relying still on ESPN revenue to keep their stock relatively high. Can Disney survive without it? Like, do you need to have an e-commerce business or, some mechanism of doing this? You start getting into the world with like Mr. Beast, who's like, well, I can't sell ads anymore. I got to sell my own products because we just have too much value flowing through here. And Amazon's saying basically like, well, we don't need your ad network. We have our own ad network. We don't need your own data. We have our own data. We don't need your own. We just need your media, and we got money for that. So, and we actually can spend the most on it because Disney's just relying on standard 30-second ads, whereas I can infinitely cut and remix, etc. So, I think we're watching like the future of media here. I haven't thought deeply enough to think about like what are the counterplays other people could do here, but it's a big deal, and I'm fascinated. Do you know if we can see it in Canada? Because I would love to just watch how those interactions are. Like, what are you going to market me? I've already bought my golf gloves. I got my winter golf gloves here. That's my last Amazon purchase. Oh, and
nice. What are those?
These are my last. Like literally my last.
That's critical. Purchase. That's key for the winter.
Yeah.
When you have a really old truck.
An old truck. Yeah. I think it's cool.
It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Go ahead.
The name of the game is still like everybody's in the aggregation business at some level, and Amazon, Facebook. These guys are winning that at such so far ahead in that. It's fascinating. The other thing that came up in my mind is like that. Have you seen those videos going around of like I think it's a woman who sells things at like 3 seconds each.
Yes,
it's a Chinese live streaming platform, and she's just so. I just love that little remixing of what we expect to be normal, etc.
100%. Yeah, I think there's just like so much interesting experimentation to do in live streaming. Like when you're able to just create kind of interesting, compelling content that pulls people somewhere at the same time. I think we experienced with Demo Day. We're experiencing it here. It just feels cozy and kind of participatory and different than, it would if we were just recording a podcast and people were listening to it, by themselves, right? And we barely scratched the surface on really what we can do here. Like it's gonna be sick when we can pull people up and, pieces firing off collectibles every 2 seconds and et cetera, et cetera. But it's a fun format. I think, it's gonna become increasingly dominant in today's media landscape.
I mean, I would. It's odd to me that so live streaming. I wouldn't call what Amazon's doing as live streaming.
I know
that's.
I just wanted to talk about this.
I think live streaming is.
But it is. It's all on Prime. It's all on Prime.
Sure, but I think to me when you start talking about like when we're in a conversation about live streaming, what we like the most about this venue is, it's a place people can come be a part of and experience and get deeper into the world, whether that's a connection with an individual or with a brand or with a topic. So I think there's, in live streaming in itself, I mean, Josh, we got people who want to come and run shows before this hour. People want to run shows after this hour. I start to see how it just runs away from there. It could be kind of fun. Who knows what we got going on? Why not? Right. But I think LDF tweeted the other day, it was like live streaming is going to be core to this next bull run. We agree.
Yeah, we like it here.
Let's do something then. It's Black Friday. I got 7 golf clubs loaded up in my shopping cart right now. Still haven't pulled the trigger, Josh.
It's been like 3 months.
Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know. But I'm sure y'all are in a place to do that. So here we go.
Pete, what did you make for us?
We've got our Black Friday sales available now on all marketplaces. OpenSea, Foundation, Zora, Rarible, Nifty Gateway, others not listed. All prices are down.
Deep discount.
95% off. Yeah, deep discounts. That's right. And yeah, that's right. Well, what does this say?
Divine robes are going for cheap.
Yeah, less than an ETH, which is like, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, so these aren't ours to sell, and many of these items aren't even listed. And we're in no way affiliated with any of these
Any of
tokens
these things. Yeah.
outside of Satire. Yeah, but the prices are down, and hopefully your conviction is not. So hit the bid button, friends.
3 days
all ranges
only.
on sale.
3 days
3 days,
only.
that's
This
right.
NFT is collectible to capture this moment in time with deep discounts that they won't be around forever, gentlemen. I'll tell you that much. Except for maybe some of those. Some of those might be around literally forever at 97% off. But you can't go down another 97%. False.
Great.
That's right.
Oh yeah, you can.
Can we send that out to the chat here so people have a chance to mint it before we put it out on the internet more broadly? Cheryl's still not dead yet. Hope you're still alive, Cheryl. So yeah, I think what we want to
the good old fashioned way.
We're trying to messing around with just dropping some fun, relevant the NFTs during the drop. So this will be available until Sunday afternoon. So if you want it, you should collect it. It's free on Zora.
It's cute. Peace Note original. Kids only getting more important in the world of graphic design.
Lucas is obviously a bag holder here. If he's pumping Divine Robes, making a comeback, 100 ETH floor soon. Yeah. I think Lucas is delusional. It's one of the things I love most about him.
Yeah. We love a good bit of
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Delulu. Let's go.
I remember in peak delusion, I think I paid like 0.1 in gas for like a mere hero identity or something like that on the loot craze. All the like free to claim loot nonsense. I don't know. Really good.
Really I think my favorite piece statement is I don't even know how to sell.
Yeah, well, it's
I love
true.
when you pull that
yeah,
I don't. It's like sell. I don't even know how.
So we're
no.
I'm looking forward to a segment we do here where Peace just punts meme coins and shitty NFTs and week to week, and we see how he does.
I'm still working on my fund. I'm working on my fund name.
Okay, once you have a fun name,
yeah. That's all it takes, right? A multi-sig and a fun name. Okay, perfect.
I mean, I'm not sure it takes a multi-sig. It just takes a name.
That's way too safe. Yeah. All right, Peace. Hit that lightning round. There's some fun tweets in there.
All right, let's crank them open here. What have you got for us?
Oh yeah, this is for you. So Song Camp.
Oh, well, this is dope. Yeah, this is dope.
Tell us about it. Yeah.
This is a project that has been in the works since. I mean, we've been talking about it for it's gone through a lot of iterations of design. The project that we're releasing next week, we've been working on since the end of summer, beginning of fall. And yeah, so it is a 15-person songwriting camp, 15 people grouped into groups of 3. We're going to be releasing 5 songs, and then we collaborated with this generative artist named Real Estate to create this generative collection where people can come to our app. You can collect blank CDs, listen to the music from the songwriting camp, and then burn the songs that you're into. And what I'm really excited about is, it's like we're just trying to create new collecting experiences. So it's like, and this whole idea around user-generated mints, right? So it's your song selection along with your on-chain identity and token ID that create like a seed, and you get a unique piece of artwork. That only you get. And so there's a bunch of different layers, a bunch of different colors, and I'm super excited to share it because Real Estate is, just did an amazing job to bring like a tactility to code in the browser that gives it a real CD feel. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I think I saw some of your like early explorations, and they look Really sick. So what do people have to do? Is it do you mint a CD now and then next Friday you burn songs?
No,
or how does that work?
Yeah. So next Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna have the release party, and the mint is gonna go live, and that mint for blank CDs will be open from the 1st through the 8th, and you can grab some blanks, listen to the music, burn CDs, and yeah, next week we're still like finalizing the lineup, but we're getting together some DJs and we're gonna do a live event on Pleaser House. Just bringing home our live streaming thesis here. So yeah, we're gonna throw an online party, and the mint will open up next Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Nice. Yeah, Songcamp events are always some of my favorite on the internet. So looking forward to it.
I love it. So that's next Friday at 4 Eastern. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. What else
we got, Peace?
What else we got?
Okay, that's right. We're doing lightning here. So thanks for let me show that.
No, that deserves some space.
Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. Scroll up.
No.
I mean, this tweet is so good. It is so good.
No commentary necessary.
Lord, give me the confidence is not something that Jason should ever say at the start of a sentence.
That's right.
He has.
Yeah, he's got it.
You got the confidence. I mean, Eric.
This is awesome. These are
such a good tweet. I mean, this whole CZ thing. First of all, CZ Canadian resident, so that's our own. I guess. Do we hold them up? I don't know. $4 billion. But yeah, I mean, I would much rather have talked to CZ than Jason if I was, in need for advice. Obviously, I think CZ hasn't been hasn't been sentenced yet, so I think there's still some shoes to drop here. Maybe that changes it, but I mean, the all-in guys, they're just falling off so hard. It's incredible. And they tried to claim being the definers of Scaramucci's before, which is Scaramucci was Donald Trump's communications advisor who only lasted such a short period of time, and so the world started measuring appointments as fractions of Scaramucci's, and then somebody came and corrected them and let them know that he's like, if you're going to use Scaramucci's, you got to give us credit. And people were like, bro, Scaramucci's been around since 17, baby. Like, what are you talking about?
It's in the public domain now.
Yeah, exactly. So I am the world's greatest moderator, not Jason, and he hasn't learned that yet. And so, Lord, give me the confidence to call myself the world's greatest moderator.
We need a world's greatest moderator collectible with Jess. Peace.
Oh, that would be good.
Coming up next.
That'd be good. That's next. That's coming next. Oh, this is just hilarious.
Oh no. I don't know if my audio is going to get piped in here.
No, but I mean,
AI is so amazing. It
just works. It works so good too.
I literally just watched a video this morning of Joe Rogan's being the host on Hot Ones, and instead of, I don't know, was it Cardi B or Doja Cat? It was Barack Obama, and it is going to be so weird. It's just what?
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, all right, what else we got here?
Nice. Oh, damn! How does he keep getting away with this?
He doesn't miss.
Very nice guy too. Very nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, not the person you would expect to be behind
at
that
all,
account, right?
At all.
Let's see.
This is just right.
Yeah.
This is just right.
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to retweet this. This is good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the C Club thesis right there.
It is our thesis entirely. Yeah.
It's like, let's stop deluding ourselves and thinking that there's more here. Now there can be, and there will be, but
just a little bit though.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what's crazy is, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I'm just gonna talk.
No, thanks for saying that, piece.
But it's it is frustrating that that so many people are ready to discount something like a shared belief as not a fundamental thing where it's like, yeah, a meme, if like you get two people to agree on something, There's no more fundamental value than that. Like, that's insane. Two people agreeing, get like 400 or 500, and you're like, you can start a company like OpenAI or Stop One.
There may be some fundamentals that OpenAI. Yeah. Oh, this are just like 1,000x leverage. Like,
I mean, if you're going to trade, why would you use anything less than 1,000x leverage?
I mean, I agree. So,
like, I want to know if I'm rich or wrecked in 30 seconds, please. Thank you very much.
So, like, I've fucked around with like 20x, and that feels insane.
Yeah.
1,000x, like, I just don't even know what happens after you click the button. So,
well, I think it's fair that the gambling.
Peace next week on Internet Explorers.
I just.
Is that legal?
I mean, Robots, we can tie in the whole, used influencers to market off-chain casinos, sus multi-sig situations, yada yada yada. So no, we will not be trading on Blur or on.
I don't know where else you can get it. I don't know where else you can get 1,000x leverage though. That's
maybe we got to do with those. Maybe
it's innovative.
Binance. Binance.
Yeah. Binance.
Binance. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see.
What is this?
Oh yeah.
It's just like Stripe so built nice. Like a lot. Yeah, it's very nice. But just seeing the like volume that goes through Stripe today is wild. And they have some cool stats like they're showing like the number of merchants who are like having their best day ever.
Oh, cool.
It's just cool. I think I usually always like check out Shopify's on Black Friday because the numbers just keep getting more and more absurd, but Stripe's numbers are even crazier. Yeah, like 12,000 businesses having their best day ever on Stripe. Like, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that 99.999%? Like, just keeping that network up is such a wild thing.
It's a feat.
The thing I always just think about with Stripe is that they have a strategic initiative or belief that crypto rails will be the dominant financial rails in the world, and are actively building towards that, and are doing it in such a smart way, and trying to avoid play good with the banks until they have the leverage to actually make that shift. Very impressive company, and I think they're going to have a big impact on crypto adoption, given the things they're doing right now, and you see them out at events and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I love seeing, like, imagine this but with crypto rails, and I don't know, it just gets pretty exciting pretty quickly.
Big time.
I don't know. It's really interesting to see, like, what does Australia and Japan know that we don't? Like, they're all off of Apple Pay this year.
Spending boost. I wonder if there's some like real time. Like, are they just all asleep? They're just all asleep right now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Makes sense.
Maybe they come on. They wake up tomorrow morning and it's like post Black Friday, but still Black Friday. Yeah.
Sunday.
Where else?
What day? 4 days ahead. Australia's like 4 days ahead.
Tuesday when they wake up tomorrow.
Dude, this should be an NFT. Come on, what are we doing here? Let me collect this.
Yeah. Nice space.
All right, we're at time. We got people jumping off, heading to work, which I love. I got to get to work too, even though apparently this is work. How'd that happen? We're gonna do it. Love it. You got anything else you want to say, Josh?
No, just thanks for coming out. I know a bunch of Americans. You're off today. Thank you for showing us some love. We've feeling a bit weird being Canadian, not really a part of it. So you're making us feel like honorary Americans today.
I don't feel like that. No.
Fine.
I don't feel like that at all. But do you? I love that for you all.
I'm just saying things. I'm not a natural. Just
okay. Well, let me close this out for you. This is episode 4 of Internet Explorers, here live with Josh and Peace Note. We're back every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time. You can subscribe to this as a feed on YouTube, on your favorite podcast app. And of course, we send SMS updates if you want to make sure you don't miss the next one. Deep appreciation for you all. Tell your friends, come hang out. Don't tell your friends, still come hang out. We don't care. We're going to be here. It's a lot of fun. And until then, we'll see you on the internet.